In lesson 2.9, we are going to take the information we got from yesterday's lab about the light and dark rooms and see if we can answer the question of how does light affect the temperature of water? You have a chart that should be in your notebook that has a variety of things on it. So this is lesson 2.10. For the first part of the lab, we are going to be looking at this section of your chart that I have highlighted in yellow. We will be using our light, this paper that helps us to know where to place things as we are doing the lab, and we will be using our light meter that we have used before. And remember, the light meter, it reads light in what is called a lux. So the first thing that we need to put in our chart is the incoming light. So the incoming light for all of them will be the same. This means how much light is coming into the light meter from our source. So I'm going to arrange this so I can make sure I get the accurate amount of light. So when I have the light meter aimed right at the incoming light, it is showing, let's say 453 lux. So then on your chart for incoming, you will be writing 453 for all of them. So on your chart, you should have 453 written for incoming light for all 4 sections. Now we will start with the clear cup. And we are going to put the clear cup right here. And we are going to see how much light is transmitted. So we will be putting the light meter inside the cup so that we can see how much is going through or transmitting. So when I hold the light meter facing the light source and look at my light meter, I get 384. So on your paper for clear transmitted, 384. Now for reflected, we are going to have the cup lined up right here. The light meter will be placed right here so we can see how much is being reflected off of the cup and hitting the light meter. So if I look over here, it's reading at about 44 lux. So then I will record that right here. So for the clear cup, the transmitted light is 384 and the reflected light is 44. Now we will do the same thing with the foil cup. We are going to first get transmitted, which means I will put the light meter inside the cup, right toward the light. And when you look at our light meter, it is showing 0. This is because this foil cup is opaque. Nothing is able to transmit through. So on your chart, for foil transmitted, you will put 0. Now for reflected, move the cup over a little bit, put my light meter on this line. And when I look at my light meter to see how much is being reflected, it's moving around a little bit. Let's go with 56. So right here, the amount reflected is 56. So we are done with the clear and foil cups. Okay, moving on to the black cup. We've got our black cup. The light is aiming right toward it. To get the transmitted number, I will be putting the light meter inside the black cup, facing right toward the light. And if you look at our number, it's 0. Again, the black cup, like the foil, is opaque. Now think for a minute what you think might happen when we move to reflect. It was 0 for transmit. What's going to happen when we see how much light is reflected? So here's our black cup. Here's our light meter and our light. We will look to see how much is reflected. And 35 lux. So now we will write 35 and move on to the white cup. Here's our white cup, light meter to find out how much is being transmitted. Placed it in the cup, facing the light, and our number is showing, let's go with 81. So transmitted light for the white cup is 81, which means it is not opaque like the foil and black cups. And the last test for the white cup, we will see how much is being reflected. Okay, I have it all set up. Looking at my light meter. 107. So this is what you need to have for the first part of your chart. Okay, now we're moving to the next part. We have our information from the lab. Here are the numbers that we have. Now we are going to figure out the percentage of transmitted light and reflected light. So now we're going to do some math. We will be taking the amount of light transmitted divided by the incoming light. And remember, the incoming light was always going to be the same. So we'll be dividing all of the numbers by 453. When I did the math for the clear cup, for the transmitted light, I took the 384 that was transmitted divided by the incoming 453, and I got 85. I turned that into a percentage, which would be 85%. For the reflected light was 444 divided by 453, which was that incoming light, and we get 9 or 9%. So then I put that information here. Clear transmitted is 85% and reflected is 9%. And again, I got those numbers from the first part where we did the lab. Here are the final numbers after doing all of the math. This last section, you're just transferring numbers over. The change in temp from yesterday, and then these percentages from today.